Greetings, my fellow financial ninjas. Today, I'm going to talk about the recent fallout in the crypto world with the bankruptcy of FTX. Now, before I start with the explanation on what exactly happened and what was going on, based on my understanding, obviously, I would like to start with a story. I was in India in the summer, in July, and I have a friend whose father is a insurance agent, and I had some work with him, and I went to meet him, and so he was talking to me, and he asked me about crypto. So I was kind of surprised because he's almost as old as my dad, and my dad has no clue about crypto and Bitcoin and everything else. So I asked him why are you, what is it that you would like to know? So he told me about this coin called as Doxycoin, uh, and apparently the way it worked was you buy these coins, and then in 30 days they double your money and give it back to you. And apparently the trading vehicle for that is the Doxycoin. And he gave me an example of how one of his friend, turned his 30,000 rupees to more than 100,000 rupees within a matter of couple months, and it's equivalent to about $3,000. So started with $500, made it $3,000 in a matter of 2 to 3 months. And that obviously, if you know anything about Ponzi schemes, that exactly what it was. I went back home and I searched up and look over Doxycoin, and lo and behold, that exactly what it was. It was a Ponzi scheme. And so I called my friend's dad and I told him, like, stay away from this. This is, you are most likely going to lose your money. So just stay away from these sort of things. If you are genuinely interested in crypto, then you are better off buying the actual Bitcoin or one of the traditional Ethereum, the two that are my favorites. You're much better off going with those. But anyway, after a couple months, in September, the Doxycoin went under. Luckily, my friend's dad did not put money. At least I hope he did not put any money. And the Doxycoin website has stopped working anymore. So the reason why I brought this out was because this was a classic Ponzi scheme where the proprietors of the whole coin basically took money from their clients and promised that they would give them X amount of returns, and got enough people to join, took the money and ran away, and that's what basically ended up happening. And usually what happens in these type of things is they reach a certain level, and then suddenly the payments kind of start having issues, and then people start demanding money. And then there is this scenario which is typically called as the bank run, where everybody wants their money out, and by then it's too late. And usually, like in the case of Doxycoin, the owners just left. Nobody knows where they are. Now, what is the similarity between FTX and this Doxycoin? Well, there's a lot of similarities. The only difference between the two is that the way FTX was structured was a lot more complicated. There were more entities involved, and so on and so forth. So let me start with how this whole thing started. So the FTX platform was created as a trading platform for crypto. Perfectly legitimate business. It is just like a brokerage house where you buy and sell stocks. So and then the brokerage charges you X amount of money for the transaction, and that's how they make the money. So FTX was started exactly like that, where it was a trading platform, and the golden boy, the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF, he started that company, and they were doing these transactions and trying to make money out of it. What ended up happening was, and it is very typical in a lot of these scenarios where the CEO, Sam, essentially created this other company called Alameda Research. And that particular company was a investment arm of FTX. Now, what he had said was those two companies are pretty much separate. But seriously, I mean, it's the same owner. How can that company be separate from FTX? But whatever, it was deemed to be separate, and it was called Alameda Research. And essentially, what they did was the money from the customers that came to FTX. So let's say, as a FTX customer, I bought some Bitcoin and Ethereum, perfectly legitimate coins, and I paid the trading fees or whatever. And the goal of FTX is to act as a custodial. Custodial meaning they are the ones who will be kind of holding that money, and whenever you need it, whenever I need it, they will return it back, and so on and so forth. It's kind of like a bank. But in this case, and most of the custodials, they have this requirement where they have to have X amount of reserves and all that. But crypto is such a wild west that there's no restrictions. And this was especially true of FTX.com, which was separate from FTX US, because the trading platforms in US are a lot more monitored, and there is at least some regulations. But the ones that are operating out of Cayman Island and Bahamas, which is where FTX was located, those have pretty much no regulations, and you can do pretty much whatever you want. Essentially, all the funds that FTX got from clients such as myself, they took those funds and gave that to Alameda for investing purposes, sort of like a hedge fund to make more money. At the same time, what they did was they came up with their own coin called FTT. And this is where things get really interesting and funky. So they created this coin out of thin air and put a certain value on it. And nobody knows what the value of this. And this, I would kind of like to sort of diverge into this one video. And I'll put the link in the description. That's a must-see video. This is a conversation between Matt Levine and Sam Bankman-Fried a few months ago. And in that conversation, he told how to create these coins out of thin air, put a valuation of 20 million, and then all these smart investors would come and say, oh, this coin, or the box, as he called it in the video, may or may not do something, but let me put some more money. And based on the fact that these smart people put money in the box, or the box coin as he was calling it, the value is now 200 million. And it's just happens in the crypto world. And Matt Levine was like, this sounds very much like a Ponzi scheme. And he was kind of very cynical and it's like a boomer thing. You don't understand what's going on in our world, and so on and so forth. So it's a very interesting video, and he's pretty much told, this is a Ponzi scheme. And I had seen that podcast a few months ago, and I was kind of surprised that he was openly saying that the coins that are created are as pretty much Ponzi schemes. So now let me come back to the original problem with FTX. So essentially what FTX did was created this coin called FTT, and it had a value. And based on the value of this coin, Sam became a billionaire overnight. And what Alameda Research was doing was They borrowed the money from FTX, and then as a collateral, they kept FTT coin as the collateral. So Sam is creating his own money and then transferring it to this other entity of his, and then FTX is giving real money from the clients, and Alameda then invests it in other coins and really risky bets, and as a collateral, which means if something happens, then they would pay back using the FTT coin. I mean, this is so fishy, and this is so wrong that, and it was allowed to happen. And the only case that they had going for it was that Bankman's refusal that those two entities are separate, which they were not. So obviously he is completely fraud, and SEC is going to be all over this case, and most likely he would have to go to jail. Just last week he was worth $16 billion. Today his company has filed for bankruptcy, and he has nothing left to his name. He probably might have invested some stuff in real estate or whatever, but he doesn't. I don't think he's a billionaire anymore, and most likely he's going to end up in jail. Now, how did this whole thing got unraveled within a week? Because Sam has been doing this for a while. I mean, the first time I heard about him was in 2017, so it's at least a good 5-6 years. And there was a lot of famous and influential people that had invested. Just yesterday, Sierra Ventures, which is one of the top venture companies in US, they wrote off $210 million. Complete. Zero. Nothing. It's gone. Poof. Vanished. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was the spokesperson for FTX. Communications director for Trump administration, Scaramucci. They interviewed him, and he was also part of the FTX, and I was an investor. So there was a lot of money and people that were smart and intelligent and who knew how to make money were involved in this whole thing, and. So everything was going fine, and he was doing his thing. In fact, Sam had bailed out BlockFi a few months ago when BlockFi was caught by SEC for commingling of funds. Very similar situation, and so Sam came as the knight in the shining armor and saved, I think, gave a collateral of $400 million and saved the BlockFi. And so he was literally the golden boy of crypto, was taking this new product or the space crypto forward. And so FTX had a very good reputation. They had named football stadium in their name, and he was doing a lot of charity stuff and so on and so forth. Now, how did this come to unravel? Well, basically what happened was CoinDesk came up with the article, and there they talked about how this whole relation that I initially explained about Alameda and FTT Coin and FTX, and basically they said, like, this doesn't seem right. And in response to that, Binance, which is another trading platform, a competitor of FTX, which is based out of Cayman Islands, they sold all their FTT coins. Now there was a little bit of a dynamic going on between FTX and Binance, because at one point Binance had invested in FTX, and then Sam started bad-mouthing their CEO, and their CEO was pissed off, and so kind of he thought that this was a good opportunity to sort of get the company into trouble. So they liquidated their entire position of FTT, which plummeted the value of their coins, and suddenly that created the essentially a bank run where everybody wanted to take their money out. And it goes into a spiral where the value keeps on going down and more people try to take the money out. So basically FTT overnight, become worthless. And so the money that Alameda had, in something like 6 billion, was just poof, gone overnight. And they did not have money to pay back their the depositors, the people that had actually they were supposed to hold their money for was gone. And these type of financial situations, they unravel so fast and so quickly that nothing can really it's like a tsunami, and suddenly the whole thing gets toppled over. And that essentially what ended up happening. Now, there was one small twist in the story where Binance, the competitor, said on Tuesday that they may bail out or essentially buy out FTX. But and so they gave a letter of intent, LOI, saying that they're going to do that. But immediately the next day they said, "Oh, this is just this doesn't. I mean, the company is essentially insolvent, and they're not going to invest or bail out FTX." And so they backed out. And the end result, and what ended up happening was the company had to file for bankruptcy. And now suddenly SEC and everybody is all over this case, and it turns out that it was nothing but a Ponzi scheme. So now if you have invested money in crypto, obviously this has shaken the crypto world. And so the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have really nothing to do with this whole thing, they have plummeted because more and more people are now scared of losing their money. So they're taking money out of crypto, and obviously that is plummeting the prices. So my advice would be, until this space gets completely regulated, where you are not leaving your money with a custodian, you're just better off getting your own wallet and then buying through that. But one of the risks is, obviously, if there are more dominoes left to fall, then it will obviously affect the value of the coins. Having said that, I still think that crypto will be around, like Bitcoin and Ethereum would still be around. And this whole thing is still playing out. I don't know what is going to happen in the next few weeks. If there is any major things that might happen, I will make a video and put it out on this channel. Let me know what you think about this video, and if you like it, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.